Okay. So you see, right? This is the the course structure we have designed. It's going to be a lengthy course in the sense we'll be together for next few months. Okay.
Okay.
So the first we'll start with introduction. We'll talk about what each of the things are. Okay. So which will give you clear understanding about what's coming for next few weeks that we are going to talk about. So everything we're going to cover, I'm going to talk about here. And then, okay, and meanwhile, all the required software, all those things you can install and be ready.
Okay.
Then this is important, okay? This is
Mm.
what we are going to spend a lot of time. This is important. Of course, everything is important, but I'm telling you, like if you have to spend time, this is where you need to spend time. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Then we'll talk about statistics. So we have descriptive statistics, which is more about what has happened and how to visualize, how do you present the data. Then you have inferential statistics, which is more about futuristic thing. Okay, it's the probability. Basically, the foundation of that is probability. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, these things are good to know. Data visualization is again presenting the data using Python. So this is again important. Okay. Then comes SQL programming. Okay. Now, why I'm saying important is, uh, this itself is good enough to get a job, good job. When I say job, it's a good
Mm.
job, right?
Mm.
SQL programming itself is good enough to get good job, right?
Okay.
Then we'll go to R because again, we are not going to go in detail as like Python, but this is good to know because most of the companies they also use R for data science and machine learning kind of work. So if they
Mm.
are using R as a machine learning, it will not be something unfamiliar. Okay. So my job is to just familiarize you with these things. And then of course, this is the biggest thing that we are going to do, machine learning and deep learning. And then of course,
Okay.
we will end with Tableau, which is again the presentation part. So, okay, Python, data visualization, SQL programming, and machine learning. These are the key five topics where
Where?
we will be spending a lot of time. Okay.
Okay.
And other things are to support the whole process, basically. Okay.
Okay.
So, first thing that you have to do is to install software, right? So, of course, the first software that you need to install is Python, right?
Okay.
Let me show this. So this website is called python.org. Okay, this is the official website of Python, and we will be referring to this website more often. So here you have something called as downloads if you go, and for Windows, this is the latest one. Okay, so generally I don't suggest you to use latest. Okay,
Okay.
because we will be using a lot of dependent libraries. Okay, and what happens is as the development of Python have moves ahead, those libraries also they try to test on it, and
Mm.
sometimes the library may not be ready to work with latest version of Python. For
Okay.
Python, this is best, okay, to use 3.11. But for machine learning, generally it's better to go to what do you call two versions below. So you can go to all releases here, and then you
Mm.
can actually get all these versions. Okay, so
Okay.
3.9, 3.8. I would suggest you to go with 3.9 version. Okay,
Okay.
okay, 3.9 anyone like 3.9, 0.10 or zero point 0.8 or whichever. Okay, but
Okay.
use 3.9, Python 3.9. Okay,
Mm.
you can have multiple versions of Python installed. So you can install Python 11 as well Python 3.9 also both. Okay,
Okay.
um, and when we use it for programming, then we can link it, okay, to whichever version you want to use. So so uh, install it, okay, and
Okay.
uh, Python. Okay, so that So that's the assignment homework for today. And we will also be using an editor. Okay, it's called PyCharm. So Python is, of course, the programming language which will be in the backend. Okay, where we'll run the code, but we also need a good editor where we can, which will help us to do program faster and better. So for that purpose, we use PyCharm. Okay. Now, if you go to PyCharm download, the company is called JetBrains. Okay, JetBrains makes PyCharm, and you will see two options here: professional and community. So both have same feature. Okay, just that
Okay.
community is built for learning purpose. Okay, and professional is for using, in in professional environment, like when you develop the applications. So anyway, we are learning here. So for us, community is good enough. Download this. This is totally free. Okay, this is paid, of
Okay.
course. Okay, so this is good enough for us.
Mm.
And when we get into Python, we'll talk about other editors as well. This is my personal favorite. Okay, PyCharm.
Mm.
So download Python, install it. Download PyCharm, install it. First, download Python. Okay,
Okay.
and I'm going to share some notes with you how to install. You have to
Okay.
check when you install it. Just to, be careful that we need to check the boxes. Okay, a couple of boxes need to check, and I'll share the document so you can just see and install it. For PyCharm, it's nothing. You can just download and install. There's no special instruction. When you download Python first, PyCharm needs to work on Python, right? It needs Python to execute the program. So
Okay.
if Python is already there, okay, PyCharm can easily identify the Python, and there's no extra step that you need to perform. But if you download PyCharm first, so PyCharm will not be able to find Python, right? So there will be extra step we need to perform. Okay, so that's why it is better that you download Python first and then PyCharm, so that
Okay.
there's a smooth working between PyCharm and Python. But if you download PyCharm first, that's also okay. Just that extra step you'll have to perform, which if in any case it doesn't work, then I'll show you how to do it anyways.
Mm.
Okay, so that's one. Um, and what I'll also do is I'll create uh, a blog page. Okay, so of course the notes I'll be sharing with you in PDF form, but let's say the programs that we do or what we discuss in the class, uh, those things I'll paste it in the blog. Okay, and
Okay.
yeah, you can just I'll share the link with you, and you will have it for ready reference. Okay, you don't have to
Mm.
look into your notes and things like that. For yes, to study, yes, but not for so let me,
Practicing it.
yeah, for practicing, this is best. And that also let me create and I'll share with you. And, okay, got it. So that in the chat also. Okay. So
Okay.
you see that I have shared the link, save this link. Okay. I'll keep
Okay.
on adding, every day. Okay. Every day, whatever we do, I'll just update it here. So everything will be on a single, a single platform. Yeah. So I think we are all set. Try this. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the next tomorrow's session. Okay.
Okay.
So let's move ahead. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, I'm able to see.
Yeah. So I think some of these things I've already discussed, right? Okay. Now, what is machine learning, right? And I told you, right? We discussed briefly before, but let's spend a little more time on these things. So machine learning is a method of data analysis that automates analytical and model building. The key here is automates. Okay. Now, when the example I gave you 2, 4, 6, 8, right? So that's when we have to do it. Okay, it's not machine learning; it is human learning. But when machine does that, okay, it is automation. Okay, so there are two types of automation again. One automation is when you say do this. Now, if you look at the robots that were developed 10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years, manufacturing, uses robots for long, long time. Okay, so those robots could not think. They were like, okay, like if you say a fan, basically, fan is also a robot only, right? You switch it on,
Yeah.
it starts doing the work, but it does not have a brain. Okay, it's been programmed to move in a circular fashion, so it moves in circular fashion. So that's the only thing it does. But this automation is with which can think automatically, fan getting switched on, switched off, improve, increasing, decreasing its speed. That's an example of machine learning based fan model. Okay, because it probably will have sensors and things like that, and it knows when to increase the speed, when to decrease the speed, when to switch off, when to switch on. That's the kind of automation we're looking for in machine learning. So it is a
Okay.
branch of AI. Okay, and we are training machine to behave like human being. Okay, the reason we want it to behave like human being is that you know when you have to look through so much of data, okay, it is better machine does it, right? Because machine can um, go through multiple or very large data, and it can use its capabilities to uh, to work on the data set, right? And it can work for 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? But human being, we can't work continuously even for 8 hours, right? We need break in between, things like that. So things which can be handled by machine, and that has been the objective of any of those computer programming, whether you do the deterministic way of programming that we discussed, or the non-deterministic way of programming, or the machine learning kind of programming. We want machine to do as much thing as possible so that we free our time and we look for something else, isn't it? We can look and perform something else. That's the whole objective of making machine do lot of things. There are few things, uh, again, what people say is, if you look at say driving, okay, now driving can be automated. Okay, you already
Yeah.
have this autopilot thing in aircraft, right? Where
Yes.
most of the pilot, they use autopilot and they can just relax. So of course the concept is there. People are developing the cars. Most of the companies have kind of they have some kind of um, conceptualized version of driverless car. But if you talk about a mechanic, how to fix a car, how to repair a car, right? Still, I don't think we have reached to a level where we can have machine do that, right? Maybe after 50 years or 20 years, we don't know, it might be thing. But even now, if you see, they have this some components of self-healing, or most of these AC components, right? The smart ACs, if you see, they track the life of various components. And when a component is nearing its life, okay, or sometimes it goes off, it sends an automatic message to a office or maybe to you on your phone that this particular piece is defective. So the guy will come, just replace it, and your AC works. So that's the next level of automation we are trying to do. But still, you need someone to come and fix your car, right? Car themselves cannot fix it. So what they say is car repair thing, okay, or plumbing, okay, this cannot be replaced by machine, right? But you know, um, driving a car, okay, um, going through a lot of data and finding the information from the data, all those things we can automate. So we are trying to do that by training or making machine learn. So again, we talk about the data as a backbone for all doing all these things, right? Again, if I have to give an analogy of human being to this, it is like having the experience. So when you say I have an experience, what does that mean? It means that I have that much data in me, correct? So if you are able to provide that much data to machine also becomes experienced. So but the problem is the reason why we have to learn all these things is the data is not in a structured format, is not a single version, right? Data will
Okay.
come from variety of sources. Okay, so we generally talk about these three things when we talk about data, sources, volume, and the granular level. So variety of sources we understand, right? It comes from Facebook, Twitter, your website, database. Okay, you have data in a PDF format, video, audio format, right? Table format. So your whatever so whatever logic or model that you are building, that comes later. First, you need to be able to get all this data from variety of sources, correct? And maybe make it as one source, which can be then fed into your algorithm or to your model. Okay, so I'll be using word model. Model is basically the making and running an algorithm. Okay, so your model will work on one single source. So before that, you need to work on all these and make sure that again, she's calling. Ma'am, we have started the class. Right. Okay, so we need to have that single view of the data, right? So there's extra stuff that you need to do. So generally, when you hear the word data engineering, basically that's what we are doing. Okay, we're looking at connecting to variety of sources and making data work for us. Then you have volume, okay? Not only sources, but the volume, right? Data could be in GBs. When you look at a video and maybe if you have to look at 10 hours of video, okay, it is heavy. Now, let's say um, police, okay, wants to identify a person, right? And they have this video footage from CCTV cameras, right? And they want to know where the person have gone from. You're tracking someone, right? Let's say, okay. So, so the person would be so CCTV camera will capture data for every second, right? Or every microsecond kind of information is getting captured. Now, there will be multiple cameras. How do you know which camera will have uh, has captured this particular person, right? You can't just go and look at all the cameras and not only cameras, but timing as well, right? The person could be at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. You don't know. So you do need some um, um, kind of mechanism, and we call it a video analytics. Okay, so video analytics will go through lot of data, large volume of data, okay, and will tell you, okay, this person, okay, was found in so and so video at so and so time. Then you can go and look at that particular time, correct? So volume can also be large, and granular level means okay, it depends upon your business problem, what level you need to go. Now, as a company, okay, let's say I manufacture toothpaste, let's say, for example, there's a different level of information I need. Now, I need to predict how much would be my demand for next month, let's say. Now, when I look at demand for country level, okay, so the data that I need will be at country level, right? I need to combine all the data and get the data at a country level. But let's say if I want to do, let's say I have a business like north, south, east, west. Let's say I've divided the country into 4 regions. So I manufactured so much. Let's say, let's say as a country level, let's say you get demand as 100%, 100. Let's say you created 100. But these 100 now needs to be sent to each region, right? And demand will not be equal for each region, right? So again, now you need data at regional level. Similarly, then you need data at city level. Finally, you need data at store level. And there could be, if you talk about P&G kind of industry, they'll be supplying company, they'll be supplying to, thousands of such stores, right? So when you are manufacturing, probably data at country level is good enough. But when you are transporting, distributing this to each store, you need data at store level, right? So the data that you play with will vary based on what you want. So sometimes you'll have to add multiple columns together to form one data, right? Sometimes you might have to divide, right? And divide you cannot do. You need data at that level. So if I have data as regional level, I can use that to manufacture a product, but I can't use that data to know which store or which city would need, how much of the product. So it also depends upon the granular level of the data. Okay. And then, all these things together is what makes um, uh, your project successful, right? So you have AI, which is more like artificial intelligence and mimicking your human brain and action, both thinking and action part. Machine learning is the brain, and data science includes your machine learning, AI, okay, big data, deep learning, and also your statistics, your business knowledge. Okay, so with all this knowledge, you are equipped enough to handle this. Now, you need to start from somewhere, right? We can't be master of all these things on day one itself. So for job perspective, okay, you need to know all this, but have um, mastery in one or two topics. Okay, so generally when we go from uh, uh, so you can enter into this data, let's say from statistics perspective. So you have a degree in statistics, okay, and you say that you understand all these algorithms, and then you enter into this field and you work with a developer to perform all this. Or you can enter as someone with programming experience. Now, again, I said programming doesn't mean that, like web development or game development. It's not that difficult. Okay. It is more about programming to work with data, right? And it's more about your having the patience to work with large volume of data, because working with large volume of data is not easy. Sometimes you run the model, it may not run for an hour. Sometimes it doesn't run for days. Okay. So you need to have that kind of mindset. Okay, so programming is a tool. So you need a tool when you are doing something, when you want to implement something, you need to have a tool, right? Without tool you can't, right? So you need a tool. So that's why Python comes into picture. You need to do the tool, but again, it's not very difficult, and we'll see when we get into that. So you can have someone with the programming knowledge can get into this field, or people with the domain knowledge. So generally when people are experienced, right? If 10-year, 15-year people experience I'm talking about, if they want to get into this field, they will bring the domain knowledge. As I said, right? If you work with retail, you need to have the retail domain knowledge. So people will enter from that perspective as well. So you can either enter from the mathematics side or programming side or the domain side, right? So that means, you have very good knowledge of domain, but you want to acquire the programming and statistics knowledge as you go along. You are good in statistics. Now while you working on this field, you are acquiring programming and domain knowledge. You come from programming side, you are good with programming. Now you want to acquire domain or statistics knowledge. Okay. So
Okay.
that's all these things together makes us a data scientist. Okay. So what is data scientist? It's a interdisciplinary field. Okay. It's not as one single field. It's not something which say, okay, this is data science. It is, it includes scientific methods, the statistics, basically what I spoke about, the processes that are involved in doing that business. So the domain knowledge, right? Algorithms, okay, again, the programming part, and systems, okay, the software component. All this together form data science. And what we do is we extract knowledge and insights. Okay, so knowledge and insights, that's the thing that you need to generate out of noisy structure as well as non-structured data, unstructured data. Structured data is where it is easy. You have databases, row and column, okay, you can easily access. And unstructured is where it is difficult to access. Okay, something like say a blog post, okay, audio file, video file, okay, a blog post, okay, you don't know which texts are relevant, which are not relevant, right? What it contains. So these are called unstructured data. And apply knowledge and actionable insights from data across, okay, broad range of application domains. So when you perform all this, okay, what is the end objective? Okay, so okay, you are good at all these, you've worked on it. Okay, now what is the end objective? Where is that your effort, your um, your the hard work that you have done, where is it used? Okay, at the end it is a decision that a business takes, okay, which is based on your work, right? So you give your decision to the retail company, and they will to the retail business or the sales company, okay, sales department, or to the HR department, and they will take your uh, the action that you have taken or the knowledge that you have given them, and then they take the business decision. So it is the input to the multiple business decisions that are taken based on the data. So when you say data driven decision making, that's what it means. Okay, you give all the information and then the business makes a decision based on your data. That's the data scientist. And these are the life cycle, the processes that we generally follow. You capture the data first. Okay, to perform anything, you need to capture, right? And this is what I said, variety of sources. So, you acquire the data, you enter the data. Sometimes, you capture the signals, okay? And sometimes, data is noisy, so you need to capture the relevant information. Let's say you have a text file. So how do you capture, the blog post? So capture the relevant information from the blog post. So you'll be doing all these things, and then you will be maintaining this data. So data warehousing, if you see data warehousing as a topic, it does that. Okay, it has ETL components, extract, load, ET, T for transform, L for load, extract, transform, and load. So they connect to all these various data sources and transform this data into one single format and load it into the which is source for data warehousing, but it is the destination for data warehousing, where the data is getting into, but that becomes source for machine learning. So machine learning is not going to connect to Facebook and all those things. You need to connect and get it in a format to which machine learning will connect and work. Okay, so that's the data warehousing. And it involves steps like cleaning the data, staging, putting it into different stage, then finally processing and putting them into one single location. Data mining, okay, is the next process that we do. Okay, and here data mining is more about understanding what happened. Machine learning is all about what will happen. Okay, there's always, when you say machine learning, right, there's always this future element, uncertainty element. Okay, what will happen? Who will be my top customer? Okay, so definitely, that you cannot do 100% accuracy, something that you cannot perform with 100%. What will happen tomorrow? You can guess, but you can't guess to 100%. So that's a machine learning thing. Okay, machine learning will always do forecast. Okay, we call it prediction. Okay, but data mining is more about working with the existing data and trying to create insights of what happened. Who was my best performing salesman for this year or for this month, for this quarter? Who's my top customer, right? How much discount did I give? Okay. How much money did I lose? How much money did I make? Okay. So those kind of decisions you do. Okay. So so data mining process, data modeling, etc. Then you get into the analyze. Okay. Analyze has the predictive components. You see, you're trying to predict something into it. Okay. What will happen? And once you predict, you need to communicate. You need to send it to your business team. So data visualization, reporting, these are all part of communication or visualization or showing what you have seen. Okay. So all the hard work will be done at the process analyze stage. Okay. Now again, capture to maintain is again hard work. Okay. And that requires different kind of skill set. Process and analyze requires different kind of skill set, the analytics and so our aim is more about this process and analyze. Okay, as a machine learning or data scientist, this is where maintain, yes, little bit, okay, but more focus. When you talk about big data, that's where the focus is more on maintenance. Machine learning, more focus will be on process, analyze, and communicate. Okay, this is what we are going to focus on. And this is again, and see, this is not one-time process. That's why from communicate, again, it goes to capture. It's not one time that you have done, communicated, done, right? You need to continuously work on it. Make sure that, um, what you saw last quarter is also true in this quarter. If this is also true in this quarter, probably not big change, but sometimes things will definitely change. So this process is continuous. Okay, you don't, it's not a one time work. Right? So now you understand the whole process. These are the 5 steps that you will be involved with.
Okay.
And again, when you get into job, they don't expect you to do, all these 5 by yourself. Okay, you'll have team which will do. You will be working with one of these team mainly initially, and then as you get more and more exposure, you might want to move from one team to another. Maybe after 5 years, you have experience of all these 5 phases. But don't expect that they'll give you entire end-to-end process on day one. Capture also, maintain also, process also. No. You will be initially hired for one of these roles, and slowly you can expand to other role as well. This entire thing comes into as a data scientist role. Okay. And we have to learn all this because you don't know which role you land up, right? So that's why we will focus on all of these. Okay, so I'm going to skip this. Yeah. So this is what, okay. So steps are here. Okay, steps are here how to install Python, and the steps are here how to install Studio, PyCharm. Okay, I told you, right? I'll share the link. So this link is here. A PyCharm link is there, Python link is there, RStudio link is there. So you can install. RStudio will be doing probably towards the end. Okay. When we do R, that means we are probably just a week away from completion of the course. So initially it will be Python and PyCharm that you need to download and install.
Okay.
And to understand this domain, okay, there's an app called McKinsey Insights. Okay, McKinsey is one of the top consulting companies. They have an app called Insights. So I would ask you to download that app. Okay, it's available both Android and iOS. Download that app, and when you download and when you log into it, it'll ask you your interest areas. Okay, which field are you interested? Which domain are you interested? So you carefully select those domain. So why? Because based on your interest, it will give you article. Every day they publish some or the other articles. Okay, 2-3 articles. Every day it will come up. So you can actually understand, stay in touch with latest development. Okay. So you know what kind of work is happening in this domain. It's good to stay in touch, especially with the domain. So you don't know which domain you will land a job, right? But instead of doing nothing, okay, something that is of your interest, okay, you select. So that generally what happens, let's say, when you look at the job description or the things, there's some jobs which we badly want, correct? And there's some jobs which we think that, okay, no, this may not be for me. Now When you interview, okay, it happens that in a job which you are not that keen, you get it, and job that you are, you think that your life is dependent on it, you don't get it, right? So, okay, but what we can do is we need to be better prepared, right? So if you want to get into a particular domain, okay, so you learn about the domain and make yourself ready so that when you get an opportunity, you crack it. Okay. So yeah, so domain industry, this is best location which I have seen. It has an app, instead of going through the website and going to this, you can just select login and it'll ask you your choices and it'll save the choice. You can always go and edit it. Okay, in settings you can always change your choice, but you can select just one or two domain and just actually browse. And they are not very long articles. Okay, so now that is going to take a lot of time. Just a paragraph, okay, to see what is happening. And if you are interested, something is of interest, you can actually Google on that topic, right, for further information. Okay, we can skip all these things. This is mostly for India and for fresh kind of thing. Okay, coming to this part, and we did discuss this a little bit before as well. Machine learning versus computer programming, right? How is machine learning different than computer programming? Computer programming is deterministic. Machine learning is non-deterministic, right? So when I say 2 plus 3, right? So 2 is the input and plus is the formula. That's what computer programming is. Computer program will expect that you provide in the values as well as the operations that you need to perform on it. That's your computer programming. Machine learning, on the other hand, is about just the input, and you need to give output here. The formula you have to you need to understand, or you need to um, derive from the input values. So formula will not be given you separately. Okay. Okay. So that's the whole purpose of machine learning. Okay, machine learning is non-deterministic, where you don't have formula, so you don't know whether it will work or not, right? But you need to try. Machine learning is proven, right? There's a formula, there are input. You will definitely get an answer, and that will be a unique answer, right? Answer cannot be something else. Okay. Now, I was talking about data engineering. What is data engineering? The first part that you do, right? That's called data engineering. Connect a variety of sources, gather data, relevant data, okay, transform it and make them in one single format, and then you load it so that is available for data scientists to work on the data. Okay, so this is the steps of your the first part, okay, data engineering, okay, where we do warehousing thing. So the software that we need is called ETL, okay, extract, transform, load, or extract, load, and then you transform, okay, whatever be the situation. So you have data coming in, okay, from so you have data from variety of sources, but you put them through one single pipeline. That's the main goal of your data engineering. You put them through one single pipeline, and after getting that, analyzing, and now the data is all mixed and a single point of view, then you can have different, based on different format, it is available to whether data scientists, data analysts, or application developers. Okay. And final, this is the last step that we talk about here. It is all about presentation, right? Okay. And I always give this example of Panchatantra stories. Okay, so do you know what a Panchatantra story is?
Some moral stories.
Moral
Something.
stories, right? So there's a story that the king, and he had, I don't know, 4 or 5 sons, and all of them were dumb. Okay, and no teacher could teach them. So he heard of a, teacher called, I think Vishnu Sharma. Okay, and
Okay.
he takes all his sons to Vishnu Sharma and says, my these are my sons, and please teach them so that they become capable enough to handle my kingdom. Vishnu Sharma says that, you have to leave them with me. So king leaves them with Vishnu Sharma in his ashram. So he teaches them using moral stories. So he talks about stories. Okay, there's no lecture, there is no slides presentation. Okay, it is stories that he keeps, and every story has a moral at the end. Okay, so so stories can even uh, what do you call, make dumb people intelligent. Okay, so when you get all this data, when you get your result, right, it's our presentation, and what it says is you need to create story. Okay, some people are very good at creating story. Okay, if they are good at creating story, right, the information that they convey is never lost. If I tell you 2, 4, 9, 8, 13, these are the numbers, remember, you'll forget, right? Definitely you'll forget, right? How many phone numbers do you remember, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at phone number and if you're able to find some pattern, okay, starting with 9 and then 9 minus 1, 8, 8 minus 2, 6. So if you have 9, 8, 6, then 3, then 1, you'll remember that number. Oh, because you found a pattern in that number, you will never forget that number, isn't it? So that's the story. Okay, so it is important data science also. So sometimes data science also, people say that it's a story that we have to create end of the day, because you'll forget the numbers, you'll forget the statistics or the maths behind it. Okay, what is important is the picture or what you show them, and that's where we say that data has to tell a story. Okay, data has to communicate. So it's about communication, telling other person what to do. So how do you tell, right? You have the first kid, right? That you have, right? So
No, second one.
how old is your first one?
He's 6+.
6+, right? So I think probably, um, uh, if you the right time to understand how kids work, right? If you tell them don't do it, he will definitely do that. Correct.
Yeah.
So, but if
Yeah.
you explain him that if you do this, this will what happens. If you do this, this will what happen. You decide what you want to do. He will never do it, right? If you say don't do it, okay, s- he'll say, why is Mama saying not to do it, right? He will try to do it and see. So it is the storytelling. The way you tell makes a lot of impact to them, right? So that's what. So same thing. It goes with data science as well. Okay, you have to give the context. You have to, tell what it is, so that your this, and most likely, that the people who's going to use your analysis will be much higher in rank in at work. Okay, because they are decision makers, right? So they'll be much higher. They'll be like VP and above level. So they need to get convinced, and if you tell them like as a mother, they'll not hear, they'll not understand, right? You have to tell them that like if you do this, this will what happen. If you do this, this is what happens. So you choose, right? You want to grow your business or want to shrink your business? Definitely they'll talk about growing the business. So communication, okay, and that's where Tableau and even the work that we'll do with Python initially will help you to present this data in a better format. Okay, there are some examples which I've seen, and obviously, when you look at this, there's no mathematics behind it, right? But behind it, there's all this mathematics running. But this is what business is interested in. Oh, okay, so this is highest. Oh, this is lowest. This is going down. This is going up. Okay, so these are good dashboards, and our aim is to design such dashboards. Okay, so with that, we are now ready to get into hardcode programming. So we'll stop here today. Okay, take your time. I'm going to I'm going to share this PDF with you, and at the same time, install those two software if you can today. Okay, so that tomorrow
Yeah.
we can start practicing directly Python.
So it's like just introduction today, right? I don't have to just go through and remember everything
No,
and
no,
all,
no,
right?
no, no. You
Just
don't
like
have to. Yeah, this was to tell
you
you
just give me
what you can
like what.
expect. Yes, what
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
expect.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And then okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Then, any question before we wrap up?
No, I will be ready with that 2 downloads
Two.
tomorrow, like PyCharm
Perfect.
and Python.
Perfect.
Yeah, and the other one is like just reference articles, right? You said that.
The McKinsey Insight, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sure
Yeah.
then. And see, do you use iOS or Android phone?
iOS.
iOS. Okay, so there's one app which is an Android phone. Okay, which anyway you can't install. That's okay. I'll share everything in that blog or in the. I see that group has been created for us.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Anu just sent me. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll share information here. Okay, any links and things like that. So we'll use this.
So you want me to use the link that you shared before, or Anu created that one?
No, she didn't create any link, right? She just created a
One.
WhatsApp group. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Then,
Okay.
yeah. So I'll be creating all the links and I'll be sharing all the information in the group.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. So we'll see you tomorrow, same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.